Hello and welcome back to yet another interesting video on this channel. In this video, we'll discuss slab allocator using Rust. What exactly is it? When do we need it? We'll also do an implementation and do a benchmark with Box and try to understand when exactly will slab allocator be useful. So without further ado, let's dive into it and let's start. First of all, let's spend a minute and understand what exactly is slab allocator. Think of it as a building. We all see buildings around us in whichever part of the world you are living. A building is constructed and then people are allocated apartments or rooms inside the building. And once they move out or they leave, the rooms or apartments are reused. That is exact concept that slab allocation or slab allocator works on. Basically, memory is pre-cut into slots and reused. So no need to create a new memory every time. And if we speak more technically, a slab allocator is basically a memory management scheme that pre-allocates fixed size of object, which are slabs, for efficient reuse. So right here, as you can see, we have a slab, and think of it as a pre-allocated slab. Now each slab contains multiple pre-initialized objects of same type to avoid any fragmentation, and then allocation and deallocation is very fast because it operates on a ready-made object pool instead of a general heap requests. So that's what makes it faster than even Box, which is something native to Rust. So let's understand now the difference between slab allocation and Box to better understand the concept, and then we go towards the implementation. Box is something we commonly use for heap allocations in Rust, and how it works is it requests memory per object from the general runtime allocator. So it's basically flexible. You can request for any size, any type, but it can be slower due to system calls and fragmentation over times and so on. Because let's say you want to allocate for 10,000 connections, and now if you do it every time you have to call malloc, and when you want to free, you have to call free. So there is allocation overhead as well, which makes it a bit slow. Whereas slab allocator, something we just discussed, it pre-allocates or pre-creates fixed size memory chunks for a specific type. So you can only use one type for a slab, and allocation just picks up a free slot, so it's very fast and predictable. Box is usually better for general purpose dynamic data, and slab is better for high frequency allocations like kernels, runtime, where speed matters more than the flexibility because you are literally working on the low level. I think enough of the discussion for now. Let's move on to code, where we'll dive in much deeper and understand the concept better. But before we move, let me clarify one thing, that slab allocation is not same as arena allocation. Arena allocation is something we just discussed a few weeks back, should be popping somewhere on right top. If you haven't checked out another one of those interesting concepts, I would highly recommend you to check out. But basically the summary is arena allocation is for allocate many objects, while slab allocators allocate fixed size objects. And in arena allocation, you free everything at once. You can't free object by object, but slab allocator does support it. Like you can do individual free, you can reuse free slots, and arena allocation is different. While arena allocation is great for temporary data, and slab allocator is more great for like long-lived objects where you know the size and stuff, and you basically go ahead and allocate the fixed size. So let's move now to manrs, where we do a basic implementation first of slab allocation, as I have to explain you guys a concept there, and then we'll do the benchmarking. First of all, let's structure our slab, and right here we have standard memory maybe unint. Now this is something we are using for the first time on this channel. It's used to safely allocate memory without immediately initializing it. So basically it lets you create arrays of uninitialized t right here without invoking the constructors. Now one might think, why do we need maybe unint here? So let's say if we remove this, now we have an array of t of length n. Now because this would require every element to be initialized immediately, but a slab starts empty as we just discussed. So putting maybe unint here lets us reserve raw slots without constructing t. So That is how we avoid any undefined behaviors while delaying initialization until allocations. So that's why we are using maybe an int right here. So basically our slab is a fixed capacity allocator with storage which is raw slots of up to n items uninitialized initially, and then we have a free list which basically tracks the free slot indices. So instead of allocating on heap per object, we just pre-use or reuse pre-allocated slots more efficiently. First of all, we have new right here, and we have the storage, which basically creates an uninitialized slots, and then a free list, which tracks the free indices, but we are using it like a stack. Next up, we have allocate, and first of all, we pop a free index, which is an O1 operation. And once we get the index, we write the value and we write it onto uninitialized slot and then return the index. And next up, we have get and get mutable. Remember, both of these are unsafe operations. That is because Rust can't verify it's initialized. So since we are dealing with raw stuff here, I would highly recommend be safe when using unsafe in Rust and use it only if you understand the behavior properly. So we simply get whatever is in the storage on that index, and assume init ref and assume init mute is basically telling Rust that I guarantee this slot is initialized, but still Rust can't verify. That's why we have to wrap it in unsafe. So here it's telling Rust that I'm returning an initialized slot reference, and then similarly here a mutable reference. So right here we have get and get mutable. Then we have deallocate, which is exactly how we discussed it in the building example, where if someone moves out, we can reuse the space. Similarly here, you do a deallocation, the index get freed up, and you're pushing back the index. And assume init drop is basically manually runs the destructor of t, which is whatever the object that we are using. So right here we do a deallocation. Again, something unsafe because Rust can't verify, so be careful while using something which is unsafe. So basically the key idea here is you're building a manual memory pool where your vector is dynamic heap allocation per pattern, and slab is pre-allocated array plus reuse slot, so faster, predictable. But the main risk is if you call get after deallocate, you get undefined behavior because assume init trust you blindly. So make sure you don't you understand the execution order as well, because deallocate and then you try to call get, Rust will allow you because you are saying that trust me bro, but the problem is value doesn't exist, so you can get some undefined behaviors. So be careful while using it, and let's do a small demo in the main. And right here we have a slab of type string and capacity 4. We allocate hello, we allocate world, and we get the index back. Then we try to get both, we'll be able to successfully get it. Then we deallocate a, which is hello, and then we allocate reused with semicolon, and then we try to get c. Let's run it and see the behavior. Here we go, we get hello, world, and reuse with semicolon, exactly how we want it to be. Now, since we understand how exactly slab allocation works, let's do a quick benchmark. And for that, let's go in the benches and add a test. So right here in the benchmark, we have box allocation, and we compare it versus the custom slab allocation. And this implementation is something we just discussed. So what we are doing here is basically creating 50,000 connections, and connection is this struct where we have ID and a state. So as you can see in the box, we create here box new connection and push it in this vector with a capacity of 50,000, and then once it's completed we just drop v. Similarly in the slab allocation we do the same, we allocate a slab size n with a capacity, and then we push and we have a slab, and at the end of the day we basically deallocate everything one by one. So right here we run this benchmark. Let's see how does this work. Okay, so right here we do a pet box allocation, and Let's wait for it. Okay, so there you can see the time taken. And now let's do, okay, so you can see the slab allocation time taken and the box allocation time taken. So with the previous run that I did on the same machine, yes, the performance has regressed for both. I mean, you can do run again and again and get different numbers, but if we try to compare side by side box allocation and slab allocation, as you can see, slab is faster than box allocation. So that's it for this video, guys. You guys can get the code on my GitHub, link in description, and let me know if you have any questions. I'll talk to you guys in another video. Bye bye.